The journey of the soul beyond the physical veil is perhaps the most profound mystery of human existence, yet it is governed by laws as precise as those of gravity and light. When we look at the teachings brought forth by Allan Kardec, we discover that the universe is not a chaotic expanse of random judgment, but a structured environment ruled by the law of affinity. This principle dictates that once the body is cast aside, the spirit does not travel to a location based on religious labels or superficial devotions, but rather settles into a state of existence that perfectly matches the quality of its internal consciousness. It is a sobering realization for the mature mind that our destination is not a gift or a punishment, but a direct consequence of the energy we have cultivated throughout our days on Earth. This process of transition is a moment of total transparency, where the illusions of the material world fall away, leaving only the naked truth of the soul. We must understand that the light is not something we simply walk into by default, but a frequency we must learn to resonate with while we are still breathing. The soul that spends its life anchored in the heavy vibrations of greed, anger, or deep-seated egoism becomes too dense to rise into the more refined atmospheres of the spirit world. Therefore, the study of our afterlife is actually the study of our current character, for we are at this very moment building the spiritual gravity that will determine our future home. This introduction serves as a gateway to understanding that the soul's path is an individual climb, fueled by the moral usage of freedom and the constant effort towards self-improvement. In our physical world, we are often blinded by the titles people hold, the wealth they accumulate, and the social pedestals they occupy. We have been conditioned to believe that power and prestige are markers of success, yet Allan Kardec reminds us that in the eyes of the spiritual law, these things are utterly invisible. When the silver cord is severed and the spirit stands alone, it carries nothing from the bank vaults or the corridors of political power. The only currency that retains its value in the higher spheres is the quality of one's moral character and the unselfish use of the freedom they were granted. A person may have been a monarch on earth, but find themselves in a state of spiritual poverty because they used their influence only to feed their own vanity. Conversely, a humble worker who lived with a heart full of genuine kindness and integrity possesses a spiritual wealth that shines brightly in the darkness of the transition. We must recognize that our earthly positions are merely temporary roles in a theatrical play, designed to test how we handle responsibility and power. Once the curtain falls, the costume is removed, and what remains is the essence of the actor's intent. The spirit world does not ask what office you held or how many people served you. It asks how much you loved and how much you served others. This reality forces a shift in perspective for those seeking a mature understanding of life, prompting us to focus less on the accumulation of temporary objects and more on the refinement of the eternal self. It is the weight of our attachments that often prevents us from ascending, as the soul remains tethered to the material world by the chains of its own desires. Central to the understanding of our post-mortem state is the concept of the perispirit, that subtle fluidic body that serves as the link between the eternal soul and the dense physical frame. According to the insights presented by Kardec, the perispirit acts as a perfect sensitive plate, recording every emotion, every recurring thought, and every moral choice made during a lifetime. This is not a metaphor, but a spiritual mechanism of profound accuracy. Every time we harbor hatred or engage in destructive behavior, we literally thicken the density of this energetic body, making it heavy and dark. This increased density acts as a form of spiritual gravity, naturally pulling the soul toward lower, more turbulent regions of the invisible world upon death. On the other hand, acts of sincere compassion, the practice of forgiveness, and the pursuit of intellectual and moral truth have a thinning effect on the perispirit, making it radiant and light. This luminosity allows the soul to float, as it were, into the higher atmospheres of peace and harmony, because its frequency matches those refined environments. There is no external judge deciding where we go. It is our own energetic weight that settles us into our proper place. The perispirit cannot lie. It radiates the exact frequency of our soul's history, making our internal state visible to all in the spirit realm. This transparency ensures that in the world of spirits, we are truly known for who we are, rather than who we claim to be. Understanding this mechanism empowers the individual to take full responsibility for their spiritual hygiene, realizing that a clean conscience is the only true passport to the regions of light. Many people fear the concept of a hell or a place of eternal torment, but Kardec clarifies that such regions are not centers of divine punishment, but zones of resonance. These areas, often described as somber, dense, and distressing, are populated by spirits who share a common frequency of suffering, attachment, or malice. A spirit finds itself in such a place not because it was sent there by a vengeful God, but because it is magnetically drawn to others who think and feel in the same way. It is a world of mirrors where the internal darkness of the soul is reflected in the external landscape of the environment. In these regions, the air is heavy with the unresolved desires of those who could not let go of the material world. This experience, while painful, is not meant to be eternal or without purpose. It serves as a wake-up call for the conscience. The suffering encountered there is the natural consequence of energy that was misdirected toward egoism and cruelty. It is only through the sincere desire to change, the recognition of one's errors, and the humble plea for help that a spirit begins to alter its vibration. As the internal state shifts, the external reality also begins to change, eventually allowing the spirit to be rescued and moved to a region of greater peace. The mature public must understand that these somber zones exist as a necessity of the law of affinity, ensuring that like seeks like, and that every soul eventually faces the reality of its own creation. It is a stage of purification where the fire is not literal, but the burning regret of a life wasted on shadow. One of the most challenging teachings found in the Spirit's book is the idea that the soul, in its state of clarity before re-entering a physical body, chooses the trials it will face. This choice is made with the help of superior guides and is based on what the soul needs to experience in order to balance its past and accelerate its growth. We often look at the suffering in the world, poverty, illness, or broken relationships, and see them as unfair or random. However, through the lens of Kardec's philosophy, these are seen as chosen schools. The soul recognizes that it has a debt of pride to pay or a lesson in patience to learn, and it selects the exact environment that will provide those opportunities. This does not mean that suffering is a goal in itself, but rather a tool for refinement. When we encounter hardship, we are not being punished, we are being polished. The way we respond to these trials is what determines our spiritual frequency. If we meet suffering with revolt and anger, we remain stuck in the lower vibrations. If we meet it with resignation, reflection, and an effort to remain kind despite the pain, we are actively raising our frequency. This perspective gives a deep sense of purpose to the difficulties of life, transforming the victim into a protagonist of their own evolution. It reminds us that every moment of struggle is an investment in our future light, provided we treat it as an opportunity for transformation. Contrastingly, the regions of light are inhabited by spirits who have understood that true happiness is found in the service of others. These are not places of idle rest or static bliss, as some might imagine an angelic paradise to be. On the contrary, the spirits in these luminous spheres are workers of the universe. They find their joy in helping those in the lower regions, in guiding those still on earth, and in the constant pursuit of knowledge and love. To enter these spheres, a soul must have completely integrated the capacity for unconditional love, leaving behind all traces of selfishness and pride. The atmosphere in these regions is described as one of profound peace and intellectual clarity, where communication is instantaneous and pure. There is no conflict because everyone in these planes is focused on the common good. The beauty of these environments is a reflection of the harmony within the residents. Kardec emphasizes that these higher spirits do not possess special privileges. They simply worked harder and loved more over many lifetimes to achieve their current state. This provides us with a clear roadmap. If we wish to experience that level of peace after death, we must begin to emulate that service in our lives today. True elevation is not a destination we reach after travel, but a state of being we achieve through the persistent application of moral laws in our daily interactions. We often assume that as long as our outward actions are polite and law-abiding, our spiritual state is secure. However, Allan Kardec brings to light a crucial truth. In the spirit world, thought is visible and immediate. Our mind is a broadcasting station. and every thought we nurture creates a vibratory field around us. If we perform acts of charity but harbor secret resentment or judgmental thoughts, our vibration remains low. The spirit world is not deceived by appearances. It is the quality of our intimate thoughts, the ones we think when we are alone or in the silence of our hearts, that truly dictates our affinity. Cultivating a mental atmosphere of gratitude, forgiveness, and benevolence is just as important as our physical deeds. If our inner dialogue is filled with the poison of criticism and envy, we are effectively surrounding ourselves with a dark mist that tethers us to lower spiritual companions. The mature soul understands that the internal battlefield is where the real work of evolution takes place. We must become vigilant guardians of our mental landscape, replacing destructive impulses with thoughts of peace. This constant vigilance is what prepares the soul for a transition into the light, as it ensures that the core frequency of the spirit is aligned with the harmony of the higher planes. In the 893rd question of the Spirit's book, the question of what truly distinguishes a superior spirit is answered with the concept of charity in its highest expression. This is defined as disinterested benevolence, the kind that is practiced without any expectation of recognition or return. When we help someone publicly, there is a risk that our ego is being fed by the praise we receive, which can neutralize the spiritual benefit of the act. However, when we perform an act of kindness in the dark, where only our conscience and the spiritual world can see, the impact on our frequency is profound. This form of secret good creates a pure and high-frequency energy that significantly lightens the perispirit. It is an act of pure love that breaks the chains of self-centeredness. This teaching encourages us to look for opportunities to serve in small, quiet ways, offering a kind word to a stranger, forgiving a hidden debt, or praying for someone who has wronged us. These are the seeds of light that bear the most fruit after we pass. The accumulation of these silent victories over the ego is what builds a bridge to the more radiant spheres of existence. We are reminded that the universe keeps a perfect tally of our intentions, and that the greatest rewards are reserved for those who loved without needing to be seen. A vital aspect of the spiritual structure defined by Kardec is the necessity and mercy of reincarnation. It is rare for a soul to complete its journey of evolution in a single lifetime, as the habits of egoism and the layers of ignorance are deep. Reincarnation is not a punishment, but a recurring opportunity to correct past mistakes and gain new perspectives. It is the universe's way of ensuring that no soul is ever truly lost. Each time we return to a physical body, we are given a fresh start, a new set of circumstances, and a veil over our past memories to help us focus on the present challenges. If we find that we have not achieved the light in this lifetime, we need not despair, for there will be other chances to learn and to serve. However, the mature understanding of this law should not lead to laziness. Rather, it should inspire a sense of urgency to use the current opportunity to its fullest. Every bit of progress we make now is a permanent gain for our eternal spirit. We are writing a long book, and while this life is just one chapter, it is within this chapter that we have the power to change the ending. Understanding reincarnation allows us to see life with greater patience for others and ourselves, knowing that we are all travelers at different stages of a very long walk toward the same ultimate perfection. The concept of a judgment day is often depicted as a single terrifying event at the end of time, but Kardec redefines this as a continuous reality. We are being judged every second by the laws of nature that respond to our vibration. There is no need for a massive throne and a book of deeds, because our deeds are etched into our very essence. The judgment is simply the alignment of the spirit with the environment that matches its frequency. If we live in a state of inner turmoil, we have already judged ourselves to a plane of unrest. If we live in a state of peace and service, we have judged ourselves to a plane of light. This view removes the fear of a capricious deity and replaces it with the awe of a perfectly just and automated universe. It places the keys to our destiny firmly in our own hands. We are the ones who decide whether we will be welcomed by the light or face the density of the shadows. By focusing on the daily refinement of our character, we are effectively conducting our own trial and ensuring a favorable outcome. This realization brings a profound sense of empowerment and responsibility, as we recognize that our future peace is not something to be hoped for, but something to be built today through every choice, every thought, and every act of love. As we conclude this exploration of the soul's destiny through the lens of Kardec's philosophy, we must look at the nature of the spirits who have already reached the high spheres. These beings are characterized above all by an immense and profound humility. They do not look down on those in the darkness with judgment, but with a deep, compassionate desire to help. They understand that they were once in those same dark zones and that their current light is simply the result of persistence and time. Their presence serves as a reminder that the ultimate goal for every soul is not power, but total union with the divine through the perfection of love and intelligence. The transition after death is simply one threshold in a much larger journey toward this infinite horizon. If we feel a stirring in our souls after considering these truths, it is a sign that we are ready to take the next step in our own evolution. We are encouraged to stop blaming fate and start looking within, for the path to the light is found in the humble service of the heart. The universe does not ask for perfection today. It only asks for the sincere effort to be better than we were yesterday. With the love of the superior spirits as our guide and the law of affinity as our compass, we can walk toward the transition of death with confidence, knowing that we have spent our lives weaving a garment of light that will carry us home to the stars. This is the eternal promise of the spiritual law, that light seeks light, and that no effort toward the good is ever lost in the vastness of the universe.